The things that girl has seen and heard between me and her mum, it's quite frightening.
I saw red and I just lost control. I ran over and just punched her. I was covered in bruises, bleeding, and so was she. I'm one of 12, so growing up was a bit hard. Always constantly arguing, fighting, trying to be the best at everything basically. I got pinned down a couple of times by my dad. His heart was in the right place. His heart's always been in the right place, still is now.
Who were you closest to in the family?
My brother Bernie mainly.
And how come you two were so close?
I think it was the way we got brought up, because when I was going through school, stuff was happening to me, what happened to him. So he was trying to help me through it at school and trying to teach me ways how to not kick off like he did. I always used to stick up for other people as well. So I ended up in a lot of trouble. And then I ended up getting kicked out for fighting.
Why was that? Was it just...
I was getting bullied.
You were getting bullied?
Yeah.
And is that what Bernie was trying to help you with when you said he was trying to help you with what happened to him? Because he got bullied?
Yeah. I went into year 7. I was still getting bullied, so I was retaliating every day. I was 19. It hit about 6 months, and then the problem started. It was a little bit volatile with the arguments anyway. It was more tit for tat, name calling during that time. I started feeling a bit more angry. We were both doing drugs, drinking a lot. I actually turned into a bit of an alcoholic back then. Every morning I had to wake up with a beer, otherwise I'd be shaking, like, full on. And I didn't like that. She didn't trust me, and I didn't actually trust her. I was angry all the time, I was paranoid all the time, I was stressed all the time. Gradually built up, I think, all the problems, all the issues, all the stress. We did fight, like full on, had a fight. Went to prison for 6 weeks on remand. Came out, still in a relationship with her. And then, I think it was 3-4 months down the line, I went back to prison.
What was that for?
Fighting with her, which I held my hands up in the court. I did do it. It was wrong of me and I shouldn't have done it, but I did do it. I'd apologised to her for it, but we never sat down and actually spoke through anything for it, because every time we tried talking, it ended up just being an argument. It was like we couldn't talk to each other. I didn't like the person I was becoming or anything. I got in another relationship and it ended up being volatile again. About 4 months after that, we started arguing. I pushed her out of my way, and she was actually pregnant with my son at the time. So I got arrested for that. In my head, I felt guilty because I knew it was wrong. More ashamed of my behaviour. I was scared about how future relationships were going to be, how I was going to be, because I didn't respect myself anymore. So I tried taking my own life because of it.
Because how you felt about yourself?
Yeah. I took an overdose on amitriptyline. My dad rushed me to the hospital from Congleton to Macclesfield. I remember waking up the next day, breathing tube down my throat, hooked up to all the machinery, and I felt weak, really weak and sick.
What happened after that to then actually make you determined and focused on doing all these things?
Well, at that point when I was in the hospital and stuff, but I had no hope whatsoever, it hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, I should have carried on. I was making a difference. I was changing my life. I just couldn't, I didn't see it. I didn't realise it. Like I said, I went and spoke to my doctor, told them how I was feeling, what happened. They were like, so are you asking for help? And I said, yeah, I am. I'm ready.
What has the course, what's the biggest teachings the course has given you, do you think?
Effects it can have with kids and how they'll bring up your sort of behaviour if they're around it. Domestic violence or domestic abuse, they'll be brought up around it, so they'll be doing it when they're older, they'll learn it, they'll think it's a normal thing when it's not. Better relationships with like your own family members, like your parents, it helps you with that as well. Because it's not just about relationships, like with partners, of course, it's all about family relationships, friend relationships, and like parent and kid relationships. I've never had anyone where I could talk through things before. I've never been in a relationship like that. Programs like this do need more funding to help people like me.
My CWA, formerly known as Cheshire Without Abuse, has been supporting families affected by domestic abuse for over 45 years. The objective of behaviour change programmes is protecting victims and their children who've experienced domestic abuse, and we do this by offering behaviour change programmes to people who are ready to change their behaviour.
To me, domestic abuse is what I'd witnessed growing up, violence towards each other.
What was childhood like?
Well, I grew up with a mum and a stepdad and a sister until I was 8. She moved out, and then it was just me and my mum and my stepdad. A lot of bad times. There was domestic violence between my mum and my stepdad. My stepdad towards my mum. I had my head split open off him. My mum had a thumb broke off him. And obviously there was other fights and stuff that I'd seen or heard. But I was good in school, in primary school, and then I got to high school and it all went wrong. Throughout school, I was drinking every day. I started drinking at the age of 11, started taking drugs at the age of 14, and I was kicked out of the family home. It was as I got older that the domestic violence and abuse came into the relationships. I was 25. We were arguing, there was other lads involved, and it escalated from there. But we ended up moving in very quickly. I started to obviously react to the situation. I went and bought a petrol can, filled it up, and went back. And there was a moment when I got it back that I could have quite easily tipped that over me and lit it. Everything had just boiled up inside me, and obviously the years of everything from childhood upwards, and it all came out that night. Luckily, one of the neighbours seen me doing it, so by the time I'd got to the end of the street, a fire engine was coming one way and the police were coming the other way. I was actually thankful to go to jail, because it gave me a break from my life, from the drink, from the drugs, and from people that I was associating with it as well. As soon as I landed in prison, I was looking at courses then to do, to change my behaviour, to get help that I needed, and to be a different person to what I'd just left behind, basically. I looked at jail as a fresh start. I don't know, something just clicked inside me, and I didn't want that life anymore. So I had to do something to change. Do you know what I mean? I'd left my mum on the outside, my son's on the front of the paper for setting somebody's house on fire.
The ex-partner had a daughter,
Yeah,
and then
we found out she was pregnant in the February, and by the June, I'd actually been recalled to prison.
at this point you were both being physically violent towards each other.
Yeah, and things got progressively worse. The social services then deemed it unsafe, and obviously at this point, I'm still high risk to pretty much everybody that was around me. Went to prison 5 times, lived in a bail hostel twice, but I'm older now, I'm wiser, and I walk away from the situation. You've got to want to change, and you've got to stick at it, because not everything that you sit through on them courses you're going to take in. You take a little bit from each one, and if you implement them day by day, then you can make that change. Behaviour programs, they do work. There's people out there that do want to change, obviously myself being one of those, and without these sort of courses I'd still be an angry person running around doing stupid stuff, who might not even actually be alive today, who could have killed himself through drink and drugs.
How do you feel about that person now?
I wouldn't recognise that person. Obviously, looking back on it, it's filled with regrets. Regrets of my actions, regrets of staying in those relationships, regrets of just not walking away.
We started off and it was like the world was against us. From where we was and where we are now, we've come a long way, haven't we? And then our daughter was conceived, and it was just like, she's a little miracle.
What's he like as a partner? What's he like as a dad?
Oh, loving, hard-working. Best dad you could ask for.
Abusive behaviour is unacceptable in any relationship, regardless of gender. And in order for an individual to come onto our behaviour change programmes, they've got to be accountable for their behaviour and want to change. The Level 1 programme is an assessment stage, and that is where we focus on individuals' patterns of abusive behaviours, and we also look at safety net strategies. So that is things like time out and calm breathing, which can prevent them from using abusive behaviours moving forward, because if they're using the time out tool, if they're not there, they can't be abusive. We then have the Level 2 programme, which is the therapeutic part of the programme, where we use CBT and DBT skills, and we delve deeper into the kind of issues around why they've used abusive behaviours, and we have topics such as sexual behaviours, emotional abuse, jealousy and isolation. My CWA have seen life-changing improvements in the behaviours of clients who've completed our programmes.
I'm a lot more calmer than what I used to be. I feel like I can handle it a lot better. I feel a lot better as a person now. My relationship's going great. My daughter's thriving, like, absolutely amazingly. So I think I'm doing a really good job, so I'm happy with myself.
It's a regret that I've got to live with. It's something that I've got to explain to my 3 children. The best thing that I can do now is look forward and move forward. It's on me to keep this going and to keep everyone together.
Keeping it up, mainly. Keeping focused on what I've learned and how to move forward. And if any behaviours ever come back like that again, I know where to go for the help. just want to be the best parent I can be, and best partner I can ever be.